another somber greetings and salutations, because we're taking a back-end view of Ashlie Molstad in her little coaching group. And I say little, 700 people is, I mean, less than 1,000, that's for sure. And the amount of money that Ashlie has made on this group, a lot. The amount of harm she's done to this group, also, in my opinion, a lot. So let's play the disclaimer and buckle up, because it's going to be another twisty ride with Ashlie Molstad. We're going to be playing part 3 of this month-long series that Ashlie Molstad has created, basically as a life coaching, pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of class, where she takes notes, yells at the customers, and then berates them and tells them to think about the people who've harmed them differently so they can be happier. That may be too simplified of a description of what's going on, but that's what it seems like to me. And I don't think I have any more grace left after last week, when she threatened someone who had a binge eating disorder with a GUN, and telling the person she really didn't have a binge eating disorder, because if Ashlie Molstad brought a GUN into her home and said, "You better stop this or else," that the person could have stopped. Don't believe me? Go listen to last week's call on my channel, because it was wild. And just a heads up, Ashlie had to change the timing of this week's call. I was sarcastic about it when I got the email, and I thought it was unprofessional. Her husband's one of his parents passed away, so that is why that happened. I'm gonna, label myself the asshole. She is gonna bring it up at the beginning of this call, so if you're sensitive to that. I'm sure Ava incredibly did a trigger warning at the beginning of this video, because those are important and they matter. And if any of those things were too much, please don't slime yourself watching this video. Watch the next video. Maybe watch me not burning my eyebrows off in the bomb party video that we did a few days ago. Buckle up. Grab a drink, make sure to take your meds, and let's begin. Ashlie Molstad.
Hi guys. All right, I imagine it will be a smaller call this evening because it is at a different time. But thank you for being flexible and changing to an hour earlier for me. I'm gonna get the kids, so I have to do this. But for anyone that doesn't know, we found out on Saturday night, about 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock, that John's mom had passed away, very unexpectedly. Yeah, if you want coaching, I see a couple people have raised hands already. So we're going to actually jump into coaching kind of early on this call. So go ahead and raise your hand. But yeah, it was super unexpected. Had no idea that this was coming, which is an unexpected death. So normally these are at 5 o'clock, but John is in Wisconsin right now. We immediately I booked the 6 a.m. Sunday flight to Dallas to be with his brothers. And then the kids and I flew back home yesterday, and John and his brothers, oh, hold on. I probably have chat disabled because I don't know why that does that. Hold, please. How did I figure this out before? 1 second, guys.
This is so unprofessional. The fact that she cannot figure out how to turn the chat on for every single call. This is week 3.
Wow, panelists.
And that's incredibly sad that her husband's mom died.
Okay, 1 sec. Where is chat? I meant to write this down last time because I don't know how I did this. Give me 1 sec. Let me pause recording. All right, chat's up and running. Anyway, so John's in Wisconsin, and the kid, he normally gets the kids out of the house, but he can't do that when he's out of the state. So I got to go pick them up before it's too late. So anyway, that's what we're doing an hour early. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to do the best I can. I actually feel pretty good about coaching, because essentially what coaching is turning off my brain to anything that it's basically turning your brain into an alien.
Coaching is like turning your brain into an alien? Licensed therapists or formerly licensed therapists or people in the chat, maybe counselors, ethics. Hello, ethics. Is that what y'all do? You turn your brains off when you help people with your PhD or your licensure? What is this for real?
It's just holding space. So whenever you come here and you volunteer to be coached live, Thank you guys for all the love. I have no agenda. I have no idea. I have no judgment. I'm just literally listening to you and trying to pick up where the pain is coming from and helping you gain some clarity so that you can think better thoughts, right? So when you say that my mother-in-law drops by every night at midnight unannounced and I hate it, most people will be like, that's insane. What is going on? As a coach, you say, okay, and tell me why that's a problem, right? So I feel pretty good about coaching you guys. It's just the teaching that I don't like. Being in my body and in my brain right now feels like I could break down at any moment. So, you know, we'll do the quick thing. And it actually is on a good week for that, because this week on intentional movement, I feel like there's a few principles that are really the important takeaways for you. And I want you to, one, like I said, really start asking like what my body needs. I highly recommend downloading a period tracking app. That has been amazing for me. Like today, it doesn't know what I'm going through, but it said, what did it say? It said, I posted it on stories today, because it said something like your workout today is active rest or nap time. Today's workout equals hitting the snooze button 20 reps minimum, right? So it just tells me that what I need based on my cycle. I think a lot of times we as women are just, the society was built for men. It was created for men. All kinds of medical tests, all of that has been done for men. So we've never really, if you don't have a menstrual cycle, then this doesn't apply. Yes. But if you're still menstruating, your hormones are cyclical. And so I love having that as a guide to tell me based on my period, what I can handle. Of course, I also use, you'll see this, I talk about this all the time, but I talk about it in Friday's email. This is my Aura ring. So it's got some sensors in here. I wear it all day, but I mostly just use it for sleep tracking. This will track everything. It tracks your resting heart rate, tracks heart rate variability. It tracks.
Is that, maybe it's not one of those really expensive rings.
Obviously duration of sleep, but it'll.
I know Aura is like $100. I'm just talking about the other ring. The one that, what is it from? You know, the gold one that you have the thing that you lock on your arm? Cartier.
Track, so you can see here, your total sleep, your efficiency, which is how much you're in bed, and like what amount of time in bed is spent sleeping. It tracks your restfulness. You know, if you're up and down in the night or whatever, your REM sleep, your deep sleep, how long it takes you to fall asleep. It'll track your body temperature. So your, resting heart rate, sleep balance, activity, blah, 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 all these things. So I love using this. Also, this and my period tracker as a guide for what I can expect to be my body's output that day. And I used to just follow blindly some workout calendar that said, this is the program, this is the start date, this is the workout that you do no matter what. And I also used to not really like count a workout if I didn't just be completely sweaty and spent. And now there is actually so much beauty in the slowdown. Today, all I did was walk, because that's all I have. I mean, according to my period tracker app, but also just according to my energy.
And didn't her period app tell her to take a nap? Is walking a nap? I'm confused.
I just didn't feel like I had more in me today. So I think that's one of the biggest lessons I want you to take away is I also think diet culture has been the ones that are perpetuating this idea of if you want to lose weight, like eat less, move more. And moving more, I think, has gotten this connotation that they should be like this intense, sweaty workout. And it's actually not always doing your body a favor. I think walking is an incredible form of exercise.
Sure.
I think my perfect exercise would be strength training like 3 to 4 days a week and then walking every single day for anybody. So I want you to start really asking myself she can't help talking about herself. My body capable of today, what feels good. I think it's great to have data if you can, something like the Aura ring, something like the period tracking app. And just also getting quiet and listening to what do I have in the tank today? How much energy do I have? And then really honoring your body with that. So those are two of my big, takeaways. And then also I think probably the third main takeaway from this is that movement is actually the least important piece of the health puzzle. And a lot of us, fitness is like the number one thing we manage. And then the rest of it, we say to hell with it.
You're in Beachbody / it's called Body now, but Beachbody On Demand Interactive is what Body stands for. You're still a coach in Beachbody and you're an affiliate for TrimFit, which is a weight loss supplement. So tell me more about taking care of yourself in a meaningful way.
If we think about sleep, stress, nourishment, and movement is the lowest on the totem pole. But what a lot of us do...
You're in Beachbody. They do movement every day. And you were told that if you didn't record it, it didn't count towards your exercise. So this is wild that she's now making money off of telling people that movement isn't the most meaningful thing. I know that health is more complex than just how much movement you can get in. I get it. I understand that. I'm just saying, she's still in Beachbody.
Is not get great sleep. We do not prioritize sleep. We go to bed late. We wake up early. We're sick. We didn't sleep well. We still get up and do the workout, right? We work out no matter what. And yet don't prioritize stress management, don't prioritize sleep, and don't prioritize nourishment. The amount, like if you didn't sleep well the night before, you should not be putting yourself through a strenuous workout. Your body right? It's actually contradictory to what you're trying to do. A lot of people say, I need it for my mental health. Okay, then go for a walk. Right? And I would start to get very curious about if a walk isn't enough, why? What is the story behind that? Now I get like if there's something really heavy and you need to like rage work out, okay, but what are the story? Like that's not something that should not be your constant season of life, right? Our body is doing everything it can for us. This week is about slowing down and being intentional with the way that you move it so that you are honoring it and rewarding it. So those are probably my big 3 principles that I want you to lean into as you start learning about intuitive movement. If you're someone that doesn't like working out and you don't like movement, I would encourage you, one, again, walking, cannot say enough about it. Tomorrow's email is all about walking. But also, I think a lot of people don't like exercise. And sometimes I think it's just you haven't tried enough to find the thing that you love. And then the other thing is like, whoever said you have to enjoy movement. If you know something is good for your body and is kind to your body and honoring your body, you could probably show up and do it even if you don't enjoy it. I know a ton of people that do that. One of my really good friends, Darren, or Danielle, her husband, Darren, some of you might know him. He is ripped. He is so health conscious, so like beyond, right? And he hates working out. But he does it because he's an adult who cares about his body and prolonging life and honoring, this temple that is giving him access to live in this body and in this world, right? So
what about the people who have like chronic pain? Or what about people who have mobility issues or mobility limitations? Are they not honoring their body because they can't participate in the movement that you're talking about? Maybe she's only talking about to people who can do whatever she's asking them to do.
Oh, I said, how do you manage to get out to walk in the winter? Your winter is my summer. So I don't walk outside in the summer. I'm not an early bird, but I've got a treadmill. I think outdoor walking is the number one choice for me because there's something about being outside in nature that is very healing and soothing and beautiful. There's something about that some of my best posts, my best podcasts, my best thinking gets done on a walk with that forward motion, but I don't walk outside in the summer because I'm not going to get up early enough to not melt. So I've got my treadmill that I do. You could do that. They have walking pads now that are like a couple $100 that you could get on Amazon and just walk while you're sitting at your desk. So there's lots of options to walking. But if you can get outside, highly recommend it. Now I know some of you guys we're heading into winter, there's going to be snow and ice and it's not safe. So then at that point, figure out what else you can do. But I think that's all for the teaching. Here's he said, I love exercise. It just doesn't always like me. Thanks, Hashimoto's respecting my.
Is it our birthday? Only 11 minutes of teaching?
Body is so difficult at times because I love to exercise. Yes, but you loving exercise, it's important. But what's more important is like if you had a friend that really wanted to work out, but she was really sick and she pushed herself to work out no matter what. And she was just like, well, I love exercise. On the outside, you'd be like, but that is not helping your body. Let's get some movement in.
Question. You've talked this whole course about mind-body connection. You've talked about, hey, it's not your body, it's your mind. And if you're listening to someone in the live chat or in her Zoom chat say that, no, like vigorously exercising like helps my brain. And then Ashlie Molstad is saying, well, are you sure it's helping your brain? Because if vigorous stuff maybe isn't helping your brain because it doesn't help my brain, and are those beliefs really like true? What? Is it important for your mental health or is it not? I mean, Ashley's just making up the rules as she goes, and then she changes the rules after she said something.
So, and I don't know where your mindset is with that, but I just want to make sure that you are not then saying, well, if I can't work out, then what's the point of eating well? If I can't take care of myself, if I already feel like shit, why would I do anything that's not right? Like, because I've had that story for many years and it is not health honoring.
I love that she's always like, I don't know what your mindset is, but this was my health mindset. That's what I struggled with. And I'm going to project what I did on you.
It is not kind. It is not making you like yourself more, right? So that's kind of the lens that I do a lot of this through is like, would I allow someone I love to have the same story? And if I wouldn't, because it's not kind, then I work to change the story for myself. All right, let's move into some coaching. You raised your hand right away, so I'm going to promote you to panelist. Again, for coaching, I want you guys to be camera on, unmute yourself, and in a place where you can talk. You know, you're not driving and all of that, where you're safely able to talk without distractions. And let's get into it. Hi.
My question is not about my body. Is that okay?
Anything. We can talk about anything. Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack, but I think where I'm at right now in my life is comparing myself to other people. because
Okay.
I'm not in the same place that they are, I guess.
Okay. So in what sense? Give me an example of what you're doing.
So I don't have a college degree. I don't have a job right now at the moment. My husband's in the military, so like my life is kind of like following his life. So, that sets me back every 3 years. So I don't have a career, currently unemployed. I am working towards like a yoga certification, but it's taken me some time because, life has happened, a lot of life over the 3 years. So I don't know. I just feel pressure to have it all figured out right now.
Okay, so what is comparing?
What is it like? Who are you comparing yourself to? Is it
Is it
someone specifically? Or what are the things that you like that are keep coming up for you?
Yeah, probably all, like a little of everything. I mean, I think like, and this is just me being like super vulnerable. So like we're getting ready to go like on a Euro trip to visit my husband's brother. So my brother-in-law, and he has a new wife and she's like, 10 years younger than me. So there you go. I'm like, oh God.
I know she's censored. She's beautiful. Not that you can't have stuff if you're not beautiful. I guess I just wouldn't think about stuff like that. Maybe that's why. Not everyone sees the world through my lens. So be an asshole, DC.
Okay, and what does that mean?
I don't know. I just like, she's better than me.
Oh, okay. How do we know she's better than you?
I don't know that. I don't know that at all.
Okay. So then are you believing that thought? She's better than me?
Yeah, I feel like I never have a seat at the table, I think. Like my voice doesn't matter. And
Does she have a seat at the table?
it kind of feels that way. Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
tell me why she has a seat at the table.
I mean, maybe probably just because she's new to the family. So everyone's like super interested in her. And
Wait, give me an example then. Is there evidence like that what do you mean people are interested in her?
yeah, I guess sounds kind of silly, huh?
No, it's not silly. Listen. Look, not that I know. When you're in therapy, they don't tell you like, oh, that's a silly thought. They don't say that.
Well, no, I just am confused. I just want to know so tell me exactly why you think.
Maybe it's a little bit of just jealousy that she's new coming into the family and getting close with everybody, I think.
She's getting close with people.
Yeah.
And your brain is what does this have to do with comparison?
I don't know.
Like your brain
Like her more. Like they
like more than me?
Oh, they're talking over each other.
Yeah.
Or
Like
she's more impressive than me?
Yeah, like she's coming in on like my territory. Like people like her more, I guess. I don't know. It's silly. It's silly. I know it's silly.
Okay, so people like her more.
Yeah.
And how does that thought make you feel?
Not good. Not good about myself.
Yeah, like how? Can you give me an example of a time recently? Was it really like one time when you were actually in a room together, or is it you just are hearing that they're talking to her?
It's actually in a room together.
Okay, so tell me about that.
So, we were all just recently together because my other sister-in-law got married and I was in the wedding and we were all meeting her for the first time. So, and they kind of just like sprung it on us that they got married like the night before the other sister's wedding. So it was like kind of just like a whole ordeal. And I don't know, she was kind of flirty with the whole family and like.
She was kind of what with the whole family?
Flirty.
Okay.
Flirty, like with like my father-in-law and my other brother-in-law and my husband. And that just.
Was she flirty with the girls too though?
No.
Oh, okay, so just the guys.
Yeah, just the guys. And then
And that made you feel like she was better than you, or did that one annoy you?
no, that annoyed me. And then just recently her and like my father-in-law went on a trip together. And that just made me feel like
Well, with your brother-in-law.
no.
Oh, just the two of them?
The two of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's kind of silly when I say it out loud.
No, so they got married and I guess took a lot of attention that night or something. And she's connecting with the men and then she's going on a trip on your father-in-law, going on a trip with your father-in-law.
Yeah.
And
And she's just the new interesting thing, and people
Right,
care.
And so why is that a problem for you?
It just makes me feel inadequate. Like I don't have a seat at the table and nobody cares what I have to say. And then here comes the new thing and everyone's like goo goo gaga, I guess.
Yeah. What do you do when you're feeling inadequate because you're thinking nobody cares what I have to say?
I just shut down. I just stay quiet. I resonate with shrinking myself and just becoming just the smallest version of myself possible.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating that this is exactly what happened to me when I was trying to pivot.
Oh my God, this is exactly what happened to me. We're making it about Ashlie Molstad again.
Beachbody coaching to life coaching and really just not resonating with social media. So social media engagement started going down. And then I would tell myself, nobody cares what I have to say, like the same thing.
You told us this story last time.
And then I would feel like, I don't think for me it was inadequate. It was more like insecure or unsure, right? But when you feel like that, you shut down, you minimize yourself. I distracted myself, right? I did all kinds of other things other than saying something, other than putting myself out there, other than posting something and letting people have an opinion on what I have to say, right? So of course the result is nobody cares what I have to say. The result is I'm not saying anything. So what do they have for me to care about? Of course. And so then when I tried to like rework this, it's like, what actually was the problem was I was worried that like what I had to say wasn't going to resonate with enough people or something. And mine's obviously different than what you're going through. And then I had to realize like, that's not the way that I want to be going. Like what I have to say matters. So I'm going to say it and trust that the right people will hear it. But I had to work on that thought, right? Because I used to get, and I know this is dumb, but I used to get like, I would say my minimum like count on anything I posted would be like 12,000 likes. And to see it.
She's literally talking about Instagram engagement statistics as a way to resonate with this person when this person's having struggles like with a new permanent interaction from someone.
Now go where some of them don't even reach 1,000 likes, right? So it's a big difference. And my brain was making it mean that like people don't care what I have to say, that what I have to say is not important. And I just feel like insecure about it. And then I realized like, that's not the way that I want to be functioning. That's not the way that I want to be showing up in the world. I know that what I have to say is important, but just not for everybody, right? So I had to rework that to be like, well, if you want people to care what you have to say, you got to say something, right? So for you, it's fascinating that when you're showing up from a place of inadequacy and you're feeling that way because you're thinking nobody cares what I have to say, 100% of the time, that is going to result in them not like you not saying anything that they can care about. So have you ever felt confident around his family?
No. I do with his mom, not.
Okay, tell me why you care. Why do you feel confident around his mom?
I don't know. Her and I just have like a really deep connection. Like we have a lot in common and we connect on a lot of different ways. So, and that was kind of another thing too. She's getting close with my mother-in-law. Like that's my mother-in-law. Like, you know what I mean? Like her and I are super close. And now I have a sister-in-law. And
but what if it's possible that you could be obsessed with your sister-in-law?
I know that. I'm about to go on
when you're in judgment.
Paging Ashlie Molstad to come listen back to your Zoom calls. You're continuing to talk over your clients. Dear Lord. This is not going to conclude this public service announcement because I don't think Ashley's ever going to listen back to her stuff and realize she's talking over people.
But the reality of what's going on here is this actually has nothing to do with your sister-in-law and everything to do with the way you think about you.
Are you serious? Some of it has to do with the sister-in-law. To say everything is always you or it's always how you see the world I don't think that's healthy. Maybe it is.
Yeah, I know.
And it's going to be a miserable trip to Euro trip, if you're in judgment of her the whole time.
I know.
And then it's also, you're going to end up saying something to your husband and then he's going to be, it's just going to be this whole mess. And at the end of it, it has nothing to do with her. You're comparing yourself to her saying she's better than me.
Yeah.
But like, that's totally an option. Why do we think she's better than you? Besides you said she's 10 years younger. Is it because of the age?
Maybe I'm feeling insecure because I'm used to being the younger one and now I'm not. And then this,
Oh, so what did you gain from being the younger one? What was your story around that?
No, I was the cute, pretty one, like the young, I was the young one. And now I have a young sister.
So this is something I think you should get very curious about to see if this is something that you want to continue believing. This is work I had to do too.
Yeah.
That I'm still probably doing. But I had no idea how, and you've probably heard me say, depending how closely you followed me, but I had no idea how much I relied on my looks for my identity until as I started getting older, my looks started changing. And you having this internal thought around aging is not your thought. That's society, right? Like you see everywhere that women are not allowed to age. Men all get these forehead wrinkles. Women, no, because Botox, filler, like women just, so there's, have you heard that quote that's like, men don't age better than women. They're just allowed to age and women are not. So this thought that you have is not even your thought.
Yeah.
Let me ask you what you think about his mom. Do you think she's awesome?
Yeah, I adore her.
Yeah. So this new girl comes in and she's cute. She's 10 years younger than you.
And
you're still like interested in the mom?
Yeah.
And be connected with her and have a relationship with her?
Yeah. I see where you're going.
And she's older than you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, she still has value. It's just, I don't anymore because now I was the youngest and now, but it's like looking at that and being like, I don't like that thought. I don't like who that thought makes me. And when you're confident, you said like, we have a lot in common. We have a very deep connection. So you feel confident around his mom. But what if you believe that like I have a lot in common with my husband and we have a deep connection or whatever, right? So it's like, I'm doing this Euro trip and I want to have the best time. Like, what does the most confident version of you look like? When have you been the most confident and like, how do you act when you're confident?
I'm not worried and thinking constantly what other people are thinking of me. And I was that at a time in my life. So I don't know what shifts, maybe age, maybe feeling insecure. But I think it stems back to, like, I don't have anything interesting to say, I guess, because I don't have a job or a career
Oh, I feel bad for her.
or a college degree. So what do I have to say type of thing? So
Yeah, but like, let's look at, I don't know, like, do you like Taylor Swift?
yeah, I do. I love Taylor Swift.
She doesn't have a college degree. I mean, she has a career, right? But she doesn't have a college degree. I also feel like I have this neighbor who she has a college degree, but she doesn't, she's a stay-at-home mom. And she just like downplays that so much. And I'm like, this is crazy. What do you mean? You know, like, your life is just as valuable. The fact that, and I think military spouses, your husband is the one that's actively enrolled, but you are sacrificing your life as much as he's sacrificing his. I mean, you might not be going on the front line and being deployed, but like, you don't, as a military wife, you do not have control over your life.
Yeah, I'm uprooted every 3 years. Yeah.
To start over and start fresh. So you can't, it's very hard for military spouses to have a career because you're moving all of the time.
All the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel like, looking at these stories that you're telling yourself of like, I'm so unimpressive.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, the military life is not for me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I would be able to do it. That uprooting and setting new roots and kind of feeling you have to be good at either making friends or being alone.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at either of those things. Right. So I feel like you're not giving yourself credit for that. But I also just feel like I'm such a big fan of looking at these stories and being like, do I like this? Do I like the idea that I'm telling myself that I have nothing interesting to say, that I don't have value because I didn't go to college and I don't have a career? Like, why would I give anyone else grace that didn't go to college? Like, I'm sure you've met other military wives that have the same story as you, and yet you find them more impressive. So then it's like, well, wait a minute. So then it's not actually that. Right? It's not that I don't have a college, it's just that's the easy thing for my brain to grab onto, but it doesn't make it true. Why would you want a college degree or have a career?
I guess not even for myself, because I don't think that that's my path. I mean, it's just, I don't know, not for anything, not for me. It wouldn't be for me. I think it would be for other people, their idea of what success looks like, I guess.
Okay. And then it's checking in, do I like this?
Yeah, right. No, that's why that's why I didn't go that way.
Yeah. So people may think, oh, she doesn't have a lot.
Sorry, I'm just taking all this in and it's so twisty. I feel like I've been listening to Ashlie for 3 weeks now and my brain is breaking. I'm having trouble like debunking what she's saying. Some of it I don't necessarily disagree with, and some of it I do.
Going for her. She doesn't have a college degree or a career. Yeah. What does she do with her life? They may think that, and they're totally allowed to. The problem is that you're thinking that. Now, if you decided, oh my God, my husband and I have to, and I don't know what your story is. My husband and I have the best relationship that I love that it's kind of an adventure or whatever. We get to do this together. It's hard, but I chose him and we chose this life together, and I kind of love it. I'm really proud of all the things that we've done and how many times we've had to move and uproot our lives. And yet we still, end up with our feet on the ground. And yeah, I get that you don't think that this is impressive, but I'm pretty proud of what we've done so far. That's totally available to you. And you just get to decide that the path I've chosen for my life.
Maybe I'm too close to this because I move every 3 years, maybe that's why I'm having a hard time like processing through this.
Is enough regardless of their approval.
That feels better.
And do you believe it?
Yeah, I do believe it, because I am proud of that. I am really proud of that part of my life. Like, I have to watch my husband leave for 9 months at a time on a bus, and deal with that. And so I am proud of myself for that. I think I just let this kind of seep in a little too much.
Well, and I think it's normal because it is a very comparison society, right? And society does tell us that college degrees are important. And now with
You just glossed over the fact that she was talking about her spouse leaving 9 months at a time for deployment. You didn't even touch on that.
Sort of female empowerment movement, it's like women are supposed to, when before women were actually just supposed to support the husband and whatever the home needed, right? With or without kids, the wife.
Do you not know any history?
It's supposed to look pretty, but now it's like the woman's supposed to work. And if she doesn't, she doesn't have a lot of value. Or she has to be pretty. And then as she stops being pretty, as she starts aging, then she loses her value too. But it's looking at these things and realizing these are not my thoughts and I do not want to think them because they are not serving me. And I think, there's like this idea of,
what about the other, what about judges? What about lawyers? What about scientists? What about mathematicians who are female, who kind of overcame like stereotypical traditional roles of women to do stuff that was and still is a male dominated profession? No, please don't get political.
Well, I wish I had a college degree, or I wish I had a career, then I would have something to talk about. But it's like, I can just decide that what I'm doing matters too. I can just decide for myself that I'm still valuable. And also, this new girl's coming in and she's cute. She's 10 years younger than you, but she doesn't have the history. Maybe she's getting closer with your mother-in-law, but she doesn't have that connection with her yet. And that's like, this might become your best friend.
No.
Who knows? Maybe not. right? That it's possible. It's not going to happen if you stay in judgment with her. But when you realize that your judgment is not actually anything about her, and it's not even anything about you, it's the rules that society has made you believe. And so your brain is going to offer these thoughts while you're on this trip. She's funny. She can talk about I don't know if I'm guessing she has a career or whatever, these things that you've decided are important. And you're going to have to manage your mind to be like, what matters when I get to the end of my life is that I lived it well, right? Like that's what matters to me, and not necessarily having a college degree or a career.
Or maybe it does.
Other people have decided that that's important for them, but I decided that it wasn't important for me, and I'm going to have my back on that. You can always go get a career, and you can always go do a college degree. There's a reason that you're not, because you don't actually want to.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to, let them judge. Let them think that that's silly. I want to live for me. And it's just going to require mind management, because it's like, these are not my thoughts. I don't own them. They're not serving me. And they're going to make me miss out on life if I continue being quiet, feeling like when you say I don't have a seat at the table, you pull up a fucking chair. You just decide, right? And when you think about when I'm confident, I do feel like I can pull up a seat at the table.
Yeah.
Before she came in, I was confident. But now there's this new shiny thing, and she's better than me. She has a degree, and she's I don't know what the reason, I guess the degree, and she's pretty and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like I've decided that makes her better than me, but she's not like it's an addition.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's just mind man. I wish I had like an easy button, but your brain is going to offer these thoughts, and you're going to say, what kind of trip do I want to have? I want to enjoy myself. I want to see how much fun, like that's the thing. I want to see how much fun I can have with them. That's my goal. My goal on this trip, how much fun can I squeeze out of this Euro trip? I want to make everything an adventure. I want to laugh really hard. I want to, climb mountains and go drink in the pubs. And like, I just want to see how much fun I can have. And your brain is going to rail against you and remind you that you're not important. And you're just like, I hear you, brain, but not on this trip. I'm just going to see what it's like if I believed in myself. What it's like if I decided that I was enough. What it's like if I decided that the path I chose for my life is enough, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Thank you, brain. We'll get back to the insecurities when we get back home. But right now, I just want to live, man. And just see. You can always go back to thinking that you're nothing special, but like it's not serving you. So why would you be committed to it? And be aware, because then what happens is like, I just don't want to think these thoughts anymore, but that's not how it works.
Go to a therapist.
Thoughts that you're having right now that you're blaming on a college degree or aging or not having a career, but I'm guessing that you've had doubts in yourself for a while. And this is just the latest.
I'm guessing, but I don't know because I didn't ask.
Flavor that your brain is choosing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like our brains will always find evidence to prove ourselves true. And if I've never been good enough, it was before that I was never the star athlete or that I wasn't the smartest in the whatever. I don't know what it was when you were growing up or when you were, but now this is which is just proves it was never about the lack of, the no college degree, no career, whatever. It's always about the thoughts. So you just got to fix the thoughts. Nobody cares what I have to say. You care.
I care.
I've decided I care what I have to say. So I'm going to say them.
Yeah.
I actually don't need you to care what I have to say.
Yeah.
And that sounds like it might make you arrogant, and it won't.
Yeah.
If you're not going to move into the space of arrogance because you're too aware and too kind of a person, that you're not going to just be like, shut the fuck up, listen to me. Like, that's not what's going to happen, right?
But
You have to care what you have to say. And when I believe what I have to say is important, then I show up with confidence. Then I pull up. There's no room at the table. Here, can you scoot over? I'm going to grab a chair and bring it in. Like, I will make room for myself.
Yeah.
And I bet his family is like, yes, get in here. Right? So just mind management. You've got this. I can't wait to hear how it goes.
Thanks.
All right. Next up, I'm going to promote you to panelist. Oh, I love this. I said one thing that I started that may help when I don't feel like I have a lot to offer to conversations. I started to pull up a chair and ask questions. It's helped me immensely because I'm not self-conscious and people love teaching, sharing. I love that note about people loving teaching. Like people love to talk about themselves and teaching and sharing.
Ashlie, you.
Such a good point. So if we put the focus on right now, is saying, I wonder if they'll like me. And I've done this too for so long, but put the focus back on, do I like them? And it just removes so much of the pressure. Let me get to know you. Let me, explore you. Okay. Hi. What are we coaching on?
About like movement and like I feel like I am moving enough, but my dad gets in my head and says that I am like makes me feel guilty if I don't move and all that, and it just drives me crazy.
Okay, so tell me what is going on with that. What is your dad saying? What's happening?
He says that I look fat and I'm big and like I look pregnant.
Okay.
Makes me feel guilty and like that I'm not enough.
Mm-hmm. So dad says you look pregnant?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and what do you make that mean?
Are you serious, Ashlie?
guilty? Not
yeah.
enough, you said?
Let her finish, Ashlie.
Like I just feel like I can't, like I just like shrink myself and don't feel good about myself.
Yeah. So if dad says I look pregnant, what do you think about that when he tells you that?
That I just want to not be seen and like I need to exercise and move and fix myself.
Mm-hmm. I need to fix myself.
Mm-hmm.
How does that thought feel?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Makes me sad.
Mm-hmm. I need to fix myself because dad says I look pregnant. So what would you say? Sadness is the thought that comes up? Sad.
Mhm.
And then what do you do when you feel sad?
Well, I end up crying.
Mm-hmm. What else?
getting angry and frustrated and just start walk away and hide in my room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what are you not doing that, if you were feeling good and confident about yourself?
I'm not enjoying life and the things that I want to do.
Mm-hmm. And you're not moving, right? If you're going and you're walking away and crying in your room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So not working out.
She doesn't. God.
Yeah. So this is one of those things, you guys, that if we were girlfriends sitting across the table, and you guys are very good at being cheerleaders in the chat, right? You've been for all of the girls that have been brave for sharing this. But it's not helpful for me to do that. It's not helpful for me to say, that sounds awful, how horrible, because all that does is give her more proof that she should feel like shit, right? So we're going to move into try to get you to a more empowered place.
No, your dad shouldn't be saying that to you.
So I'm not your girlfriend sitting across from you saying this is horrible. I'm going to coach. All right. So just so everybody knows, as a human, that sounds painful, but I also can see it from the neutral place of dad says words. Dad says words. We could prove that in a court of law. If dad says, I look pregnant and I feel sad, we couldn't prove that dad saying these words would make you feel sad or make you think I need to fix myself. We couldn't prove that in a court. Not everyone on the planet would agree, right? I can say if my dad told me you look pregnant, you need to work out more, I would probably not have him in my life. Right. And I would from love.
It sounds like she is still living with her dad, though. So she doesn't have that option to remove him from her life.
And compassion, but I just don't really need that around me right now. Right.
Have we been listening to the same person talk about this? Because she's saying her dad tells her that, and then she goes to her room and cries. So it sounds like they're living in the same house, Ashlie. Not everyone has the ability to change their proximity to the person causing them the stress.
One of the things I will say, which I don't know if I've done a podcast on this or not, but I did realize, I grew up with a lot of body image issues, which you've probably known by following me.
She says this every single time. You probably know this story because you follow me.
And I was starting to feel really, really confident as I was doing, some of this work and body positive work and just really working on repairing my relationship with myself. And then we were going to see my dad. It was 2 years after I had Mac. And I realized all these securities started coming up and raging within me. And I was feeling oh my God, he's going to think I'm fat. He's going to think that I haven't lost the weight. He's going to think that I'm all these thoughts. I was what is going on here? And I realized now, having become someone who no longer believes all of these things society says about the size that women should be, but really just kind of from the outside in, hearing them and seeing them, I started noticing how often he comments on the way people look. And then I talked to my dad is amazing, guys. I love him so much. But he would comment on the way people look, and he still does. He always did. I talked to my sister about it. She's yeah, you don't remember that growing up? And the way that I think about it now, and I've actually coached someone on this where she's I'm afraid to lose weight because my mother and my sister always comment on it. When I lose weight, they say that I'm sick and I need to eat more. When I'm overweight, they say that I need to go on a diet. And she's I can't win. I just feel they're constantly judging me. And we dig in. We kind of discovered, and this is hard, but this is where I had to get to give myself some peace, so that I wasn't in judgment of my dad and I wasn't letting him hurt me with whatever words, which my dad doesn't say anything about me. But I feel when I notice him saying it about other people, my brain is you're thinking it about me, right? But I was why would my dad say something like that? Why would my dad, if he thought that I should lose weight or I looked better before, why would he think that? And I started kind of exploring this idea with my client. That's actually how I came to this conclusion, was helping walk her through it. It's why do you think your mom and your sister are commenting on your body? It's well, I don't know, we just always dieted together. Okay. And so that's been your thing. What's the point of dieting? Why do they care what you eat? Well, I mean, I don't know. We're friends. We have a really good relationship. I know they love me, right? It's just starting to get to they care. And what I realized is society is very loud about telling women the way that they should look and the way that they behave. And especially our parents' generation, it was very loud and clear that women were supposed to look good. And so when I think about the way that generation looks at everybody else, and a lot of you guys can probably relate because your parents did the same thing, or you've done the thing where you think that the best way to be happy or the most successful in life is to look a certain way. And I think about why would my dad care what I look like? And he probably thinks that I would be happier or more successful if I were a different size. And I don't think he consciously thinks this, right? I think this is in our subconscious. I think the same thing for your dad is do you feel like your dad loves you?
A bit, yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he's always mean or abusive, or if he you love him.
Yeah, I do love him.
And he loves you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if he loves you and then he says something you look pregnant, you need to move more. My guess is what your dad actually truly wants for you is for you to be happy and thriving. And somehow, because of the way the world is, he has correlated happiness and thriving with a physical appearance or boxes being checked, right? Back to what we just talked about, like going to college, getting a career, whatever, right? These things that society has said, if you want to be successful, this is what you should look like and be and do. And for me, that was really helpful because it was like, when it feels like judgment, it's actually coming from love. I think my dad doesn't actually, like, if he knew what my brain was like back when I was thin years ago and he had nothing to say about the way I looked, I was actually in a much healthier body and brain when I was heavier, even if he had judgments about it, because he doesn't know my thinking. He doesn't know, right? All he knows is what he knows. All your dad knows is what he knows. Like he, and a lot of people.
It sounds kind of victim blamey, and maybe that's not an exact definition of what's going on here, but she's asking people to have empathy for the individuals who are wreaking havoc on your mental health by saying shitty things to you. Because what if she said the same thing to her dad? Would he be as receptive? No, he wouldn't.
Look at their thinking to see how it might, if it's true, if we like it, if that's fair. But I'm guessing him saying something like that is coming from a place of, I want the best for you. That's why I think you should move more and lose weight. Now, that may not be true. He could be being a total asshole and wanting to hurt your feelings. That's possible. But if we think my dad's trying to hurt me, that feels really painful.
Faking reality, I don't think is healthy. I'm out of my element. I'm out of my depth. And Ashley's way out of her depth because she's actually like participating in this. If somebody is hurting you and you cannot get away from that person, that feels really like heavy. And now Ashley's trying to tell them to think about the person hurting them differently. I don't think this is healthy.
Right? I love him and I thought he loved me. I want him to love me. And so it just feels really painful that he actually wants me to be in pain. So why would we, when we don't actually know, why would we choose a thought that makes us feel like shit versus one like he just doesn't know any better?
Oh,
Dad says,
let's say this advice plays out in situations. So if we are saying, what if they're doing their best and the person actually is doing awful things to that individual? Oh, but they just don't have any they don't have any self-control. They're just doing their best. So when they really harmed you, don't really think about like that they really meant to do it. They're trying their best. Hell no.
I look pregnant. That's the circumstance. Your brain goes to, I need to fix myself. We can't change dad. Dad's going to be the same. How would you want to feel about your dad saying something like that? Like you look pregnant.
I want to feel more confident and not care about what he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
And be comfortable going to his house because my parents are split. So, yeah.
Oh, good. She doesn't live with her dad. Okay.
So you'd want to feel more confident that.
I feel like a therapist would have said, are you in a space where you're safe? Or are you living with your dad? Are you able to make sure that you are in a situation where you can leave if confronted in a way that makes you really uncomfortable and scared? And did Ashley ask that? No. She's like, think about the person harming you in a better mindset.
I don't care I guess the thought could be, I don't care what he thinks, but I don't know if that's true. Do you believe that? Is there anything that you can think of that you don't care what he thinks? Because it has to be believable too, for your brain.
I just don't want to believe what he's telling me. I want to feel good about myself without others getting in the way.
That's so healthy. I want to feel good about myself without others getting in the way.
Okay, and do you feel good about yourself?
No.
Yeah, so then dad saying something only is more evidence for your brain that you shouldn't or can't feel good about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about you and your body?
Well, sometimes I feel good and sometimes I don't feel good, and I feel guilty on days that I don't work out and feel like I need to work out till I feel good.
I'm going to work out until I feel good. I had a coach growing up. I've talked about him a little bit with my friend Amy on one of the videos. And I struggle with, even when I was at a lower weight, like a low body fat percentage and everything, I experience swelling in my legs and pretty much everywhere, especially my face. And I, even being in, 130 plus pounds, my coach saw me one day when I came in and I was having a day where my face was swollen. I had a double chin, and he's like, okay, get on the treadmill. And he ran me on the treadmill for 2 hours until my double chin went away. So that whole mentality of I'm going to work out until I feel better, or I'm going to work out till I think I can look better, or somebody else says okay, now you're appropriate, you can go back to practicing, tennis or whatever. It's unhealthy. It's dangerous. It needs to be worked out with a licensed clinician. And I hope she's going to be able to get access to a licensed clinician in the future.
But it's hard for me to fit that in my schedule because I'm so busy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when dad says these things, I feel bad for not working out or working out enough.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think he says things like that?
I'm not really sure. Just we can say hurtful things sometimes. And
But where do you think that's coming from? Why do you think he cares if you look pregnant or if you...
He doesn't care. He doesn't like that she looks that way. And so he told her that she looks that way to get her to change the way that she looks.
Because at the beginning you also said, he said like you need to move more or something. You said, because you started out by saying, I feel like I move enough, but my dad tells me that I look pregnant and I need to lose weight. Right? So why do you think he cares if you need to lose weight?
Because he wants me to be healthy and look good, maybe.
Are you healthy?
I feel like it a bit, but it could be worked on more.
And he just gets in my head.
Because people get in my head and there's a lack of motivation.
Yeah, but do you see how much of your power you're giving away right now? It's like these people are saying this or thinking this, and so therefore I act this way. You guys out here are controlling my whole world.
But it's a parent. It's like more complex than just a friend.
When I feel like shit, you guys make me feel like shit, so I can't do anything. It's a very disempowering place to be. Right?
Yeah.
So if you want to feel better, what stops you from being healthier or moving more or whatever? You said you're too busy. Do you want to move? Because then you also said at the beginning, I feel like I move enough. But now you're also saying like, I feel like I don't.
Whenever I don't, I feel guilty, but I try to work out. But my dad gets in my head that I don't like, if I don't work out, like especially when I'm like sick, I don't work out because I'm fighting something. But he's like, well, you should and you feel fat. So work out. And I try and move, but I also am tired and have a lot going on. And at the end of the day, it's a lot. And then he just
imagine you're an alien, right? And I were to tell you, you don't know anything about the world. You don't know anything about this world and societal standards, right? And I were to tell you, oh my God, my dad told me that I look pregnant and I feel awful. Your alien brain would be like, well, what's so bad about that? What's so bad about looking pregnant? Do you want to move? Why don't you just move then? Right? Or do you not want to move? Okay, then let him think you look pregnant. What's the problem? Right? As an alien, that's not in and of itself saying that you look pregnant isn't a painful statement. But this thought that you have about it, which is I need to fix myself, that's the pain. Why do you think you need to fix yourself? And let me ask you this, is that a subconscious thought or a conscious thought? Do you also think you need to fix yourself, even if your dad didn't say anything? Do you feel like there's something wrong with you?
Yes, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like I won't fit in if I don't fix myself for like people.
So what would fixing yourself look like? How would you know that you were fixed?
She knows it.
Like doing what people tell me to do and like working out all the time and giving in to people and making them happy rather than making myself happy and what I want to do.
Well, so that's what would make you feel fixed?
Maybe.
You want to do what everyone else wants you to do?
Well, I want to be in control, but most people aren't in control of me right now. So I want to have more confidence.
Yeah. Are you journaling? Are you looking at your brain at all?
Yes.
And what have you discovered?
I don't know what's going on and that I am like, bad about myself and not working out and like just my whole image is like I'm not enough.
So I'd be curious if actually what we talked about last week's call, or did you watch the replay? I'd be curious if actually part of you doesn't actually want to lose weight because it keeps you safe, right? If you think that something is wrong with you and the way that you think that you'd be fixed is if doing what other people tell you to do and making other people feel happy over you, to me, that is deep, deep, deep self-loathing. And I could see why you wouldn't want to lose weight because right now you can blame it on your body.
This is not always the case for everyone. You haven't asked any questions and you're assuming everything. And you're like, oh yeah, remember what I said last week? What if it applies this week? You haven't even asked enough questions about this person to be able to say anything to this person.
But if you were lean and you still thought, or your brain, what your brain probably thinks is like, I am the problem. Something's wrong with me. I need to fix me, not just my, right? In this instance, your brain is using it as my body is broke. My body's the thing, right? But what I'm kind of gathering is it's your actual self-esteem and your belief about you that needs to be fixed. And you probably don't, there's a part of you that doesn't actually want to because you're afraid of then having to face this reality that I am the problem. So I think right now your weight is actually keeping you safe and keeping you feeling more loved. But I want to offer stories that you have about yourself, like that I need to fix myself or I'm not worthy of whatever, totally optional and totally made up. And when you think I need to fix myself and you feel sad and then you cry, you walk away, hide in your room, you don't enjoy life, you don't do the things you want to do, you're not working out, you're not finding any, happiness in things. Of course, that's going to result in a still broken you.
Yeah.
But I also want you to get very clear on if fixing yourself is making other people happy or doing what other people are telling you to do. I want you to be very clear with yourself on like, is that what I actually want? Do I want to use them as my catalyst for change? And maybe it's true. Maybe I do want to, but I'm not sure because you signed up for a course called Intentional You, where my whole platform is based on being authentically you and insourcing your life and your opinions. So I think there's a reason that you were pulled to this because if you actually believe that the best me is the one following everybody else and doing what they tell me to do, I don't think you'd be here.
I want to be more in control.
Yeah. So when I say, how would you know you're fixed? And then you tell me, because then I would be doing what other people tell me to do, and I'd be making other people happy over me. Those things seem not in alignment.
You didn't listen to one thing she said, Ashlie. That's not what she was saying earlier.
With what you actually want. I think your brain is saying, to get accepted, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Get all these other people to accept us. What you actually need to do is to do the work of accepting yourself. So I actually would recommend therapy probably for you. I'm not sure what it looks
I'm glad she said it. At least she said it.
like growing up in your home, and I can't coach on trauma. But
you literally did that last week. Do you not remember the client that you counseled with the eating disorder, and you said, what if you brought a GUN into her home and said, stop binge eating or else? That wouldn't she just stop binge eating?
Where your confidence is right now, I think you could use someone talking to you more often and showing you your thoughts, and then helping you see where you got them and how to choose ones that serve you better. Maybe a life coach or something, right?
No.
But
you just said therapy, and then now you're saying life coach? What? Is it therapy or is it life coaching? Are you wanting her to get help, or are you wanting to shill your products and services? I'm trying to put my twisty bracelet on from Happyish brand. Victory!
I really think the issue here is not your body. And I don't even think it's your dad saying things that maybe people on planet Earth would say are hurtful. I think it's that your brain is using it as more evidence that you are not enough. And I think you need to get to the root of, where is this I'm not enough coming from? And why do I think that? Why am I so committed to believing that? Is it true? Could I prove that I'm not enough? Do you think you could prove that you're not enough, or that something's wrong with you? Could we prove it? If I would I want you to bring all of your evidence, and I want you to bring it to court. Do you think that you would get 100% of people to agree she's broken, something's wrong with her?
No.
So then it's a story. It's just a story, and the story is not serving you, and it's making you feel like shit, and it's making you live a very small life. And when we tell our brain to seek out evidence for something that we believe, it continues to collect and collect and collect, and it's just in your subconscious. So you have to start to actually do the work to be like, when your brain's being a dick, is this the truth, or is it a story I'm telling myself? Even that on its own has been so powerful for me. And then deciding, I want to believe a different story. I don't want to believe this anymore. It feels like crap. And I am the only one that has to live this life. So I may not ever lose weight, and my dad may never like the way I look, but I can still be happy. I can still find joy. And I can also have a great relationship with him, because I know he is not trying to be mean. He's trying to be like, hey, this is how I can promise you a good and happy life. Take care of yourself. That's no fault to him.
What? She's still trying to convince people to think kindly about others who are talking shit about you.
That's what this is like. That's what we've all been taught, right? Mm-hmm. So he's just not looking at it to be like, is this true? In his brain, it is true. In our parents' generation's brain, it is very true. We were during COVID, when I was in the height of really body positivity and working on myself, we used to do these Zoom calls as a family. And she's just 96 now, but I guess she would have been 94, 93. And I remember saying, you guys have heard me say, on your deathbed, you're not going to care about what you look, but my 94-year-old grandma at the time would come on and be like, wow, who's getting in the COVID-15? And it blew my mind. I'm like, this 94-year-old is still, but I was just like, but of course she is. Because that is the whole messaging of women's values for her whole life, is women are supposed to look a certain way. So we have to talk about what we're eating and how much weight we're gaining and whether we're taking care of ourselves, right? And it's like, I'm not judging her. She's doing the best that she can. Your dad is doing the best that he can. And sometimes he's going to say words that your brain is going to perceive as hurtful, but they perceive them as hurtful because of the way that you feel about yourself.
You can also communicate that to people who love you and say, this is the way that is coming across. Please don't say that to me anymore. You can learn those techniques in therapy.
So if you can do the work on yourself and say, Dad, I'll get to you in a minute, but I'm going to work on myself first. I bet that you, one, wouldn't tolerate it. You would not tolerate him speaking to you like that. Or two, you would be like, okay, oh, whatever, Dad. That's just Dad being Dad, right? Because you've got your back right now. You feel like no one's in your corner because I need to fix myself, right? So this actually has nothing to do with your dad and everything to do with you and your
Oh no, Ashlie Molstad.
relationship with you and the way that you think about you.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Just keep remembering, this is a story. If I want to feel better, that's up to me. Dad, he's just being Dad. He wants the best for me. He loves me. Do I want the best for me? Do I want to love me? And explore that. And if your answer is no, I don't think so, why not? And if your answer is yes, then what does that look like? Thank you for being brave and vulnerable and sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, guys, I am actually going to stop it there. I know that there's so many more people that want coaching, but I got to wrap some things up here and then go pick up the kids.
You pay tens of thousands of dollars and I have to go pick up my kids, so I'm going to stop the coaching here. You've done 8 coaching sessions in 3 weeks for $70,000.
So I'm just gonna do it with those two. But next week, maybe we can do, John will be back. So maybe we can do like 2 hours, a 2-hour call, or we can do 2 calls next week or something like that to do a little extra coaching in our final week. So there's a couple more emails this week. And then next week we're getting into, it's about consumption, like your environment, right? It's about challenging your thoughts. Like, I'm a night owl. I'm a morning person. I don't make my bed. I have to make my bed. I'm a neat freak. I am a hoarder, like whatever, right? But it's also, who are you following on social media? What kind of things are you consuming? What are the thoughts? Like, I would ask, who are you following that you're also, so she mentioned her sister-in-law, but who else is she following? That when they come on your feed, there's a feeling that doesn't just bring you smiles and joy. If every time you see this person, you're in judgment, like, oh God, she's so annoying, or why are we following them, right? We're going to talk about boundaries. We're going to talk about that in real life. Why are we tolerating people being assholes to our faces? So we're going to dig into all kind of that. So
apparently, according to you, in the past 3 sessions, assholes don't exist because it's all how we take in the information. So how can you even be talking about this or teaching on this next week?
Thanks, guys, for being flexible and shifting this and then being here and continuing to do the work. It means a lot to me.
You didn't give them a choice to be flexible or not.
Maybe next week when we start, I saw you really wanted to be coached. So maybe just raise your hand first next week, because I'm just going in the order of like the hands going up. But yeah, I will be talking to you soon. I love you. Bye.
Do you love us? Are we just stoked it was that short this week? Because I was. I think I'm gonna have to like re-watch this with the premiere and process through it in that chat as I'm premiering this, because a lot of the stuff was twisty to listen to, and there's things I don't know because I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a licensed clinician or whatever, and so some of the stuff sounds off and some of it sounds like neutral and some of it sounds not just off but really wrong and twisty. There you have it. Ashlie Molstad, Beachbody, now Body, former top coach and still in Beachbody, even though she wants to tell you otherwise. Trim Fit affiliate and life coach. I'm excited to see the comments. I am probably in the chat if I wasn't late. And hopefully we've been chatting about what's been going on in this video together. Replay crew, if you're here, greetings. If you want to pull up the live chat and read through what other people said, sometimes that's super helpful. And I'll do my best to respond to the comments. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next pre-recorded video or live stream. And if you haven't already, I'd love for you to like the video, even if you hate it. Subscribe if you want to see more content, and make sure to hydrate and do something fun after this, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.